Hello Internet, my name is Lave and I watched Godzilla, King of the Monsters, which is a sequel to Kong Skull Island, which was a prequel to Godzilla 2014, but more on the monsterverse later. This one is directed by Michael Dougherty, who is traditionally a writer, but he has directed a couple of other movies, most notably probably Krampus. Now he's taking on the monsterverse, picking up after the events of the previous Godzilla movie, with the world now aware of his existence and with San Francisco absolutely flattened. So the pressure is on the secret organisation Monarch, which has been secretly researching these mutos. When shock horror, more of them awake from hibernation and lots of destruction ensues as these titans clash. So I know the 2014 Godzilla left a lot of fans feeling a bit shortchanged, and I totally get that, but I personally did like that movie. Admittedly, some of the human characters did come across as a bit dull, aside from Bryan Cranston's character, but the rest of them did feel like they were real characters, that the film in general felt very grounded, like it was in our reality. Then comes along Kong Skull Island, which for me felt like it was overstuffed with pointless characters, some of which came across as a bit like a parody, and tonally it just didn't really fit with its predecessor. I just didn't get where this monsterverse was going. And now we've got this latest installment, which admittedly doesn't skimp on the kaiju versus kaiju action. You do get plenty of Godzilla this time around, with the added bonus of the other monsters he's faced in the Toho Japanese movies, including King Ghidorah, Rodan, Mothra, to name a few. But if I was going to compare this film to the previous two, I'd say tonally it's more in line with Kong Skull Island, and it's got a lot of the same problems, for me at least, in that it's got a plethora of like pointless characters who deliver a load of exposition by inferring to other characters, "Oh, I think this is what's going on," and indeed that is what's going on. They're correct. There's even a Skype presentation in the middle of the film with a perfectly produced time-lapse video explaining why humans are actually the problem and how these events are gonna bring Earth and nature back to balance. A lot of the new characters are literally just there to spout quips and one-liners, like O'Shea Jackson Jr.'s Army Man Person Number 1, who's literally there just to say, "Whoa, look at that." You've also got Thomas Middleditch's Monarch Science Person Number 3, who likes to point out that the Titans have genitals, who mistakenly thinks that Ghidorah is called gonorrhea. There are a few returning characters from the 2014 Godzilla movie, like Ken Watanabe's character is back, still moping around saying, "Let them fight." He still thinks that Godzilla is the key to existence. In one of the film's quietest moment, he gives one of his morale boosting speeches, which ends on a joke, and then bang, the action starts all over again. His sidekick character, played by Sally Hawkins, is also back. She's basically there to say, "Yep, Kong Skull Island is out there," and then she completely disappears. But then her character's function is taken over by Zhang's character. David Strathairn is also back. This time he's an admiral. He literally pops up in a courtroom scene where I don't think he says anything, and then in another scene later on to say, "I've got a new weapon and this is how we're going to use it," and then we never see it again. He's basically Army Person Number 1, because there's also another Army Person Number 2 played by Aisha Hinds. There's literally so many pointless characters in this. And then you've got the main characters, as it were, with Carl Chandler popping up in his third monster movie following on from Super 8 and Peter Jackson's King Kong. He's playing a father who's been separated from his wife, played by Vera Farmiga, and their daughter, played by Millie Bobby Brown. Now, my hope going into this was that they were going to be just a normal family who have been separated by all of the destruction and the chaos, who are trying to get back together, kind of in the same way as Tom Cruise did in War of the Worlds. But no, their function is much more convoluted. It all revolves around this BS bit of technology called the Orca, which I guess you could say does tie in to a similar technology that Bryan Cranston's character uses in the first one, but it's much more kind of convoluted and unbelievable. This all ties into Charles Dance's character, who's this eco-terrorist. That plot just didn't really make sense to me. I think you can really pick that apart. Like, the point I'm trying to make is that there are a load of characters in this, and I know that most people are gonna go and see this to just see monsters fight monsters, which, like I said, it does bring to the table, and it is really cool that the CG creatures pay homage to their Japanese men in suit counterparts. But I personally wanted more from this one. I think if you're gonna have human characters in it, so many human characters in it, make them mean something. I wanted this to be on par with the other great monster movies like Jaws and Jurassic Park, both Spielberg movies, which have really compelling characters as well as some really awesome monster stuff. Whereas if you take out the fact that you've got the Japanese monsters like Mothra and Rodan and all of those characters, really this is just another monster movie in the same vein as Rampage and The Meg. So that's my thoughts on Godzilla, King of the Monsters, and pause the video if you want to take a closer look at my enjoyment tracker now. Maybe I am being a bit of a killjoy and was expecting too much. I think this one is definitely tailored for the little kids, and they are obviously trying to build their monsterverse. There is an after credit scene in this which I didn't quite get the reference to. I'm sure some people will correct me in the comments, but this film feels like quantity over quality, and like I say, it just feels like another generic monster movie. So if you've seen it, let me know what you thought down in the comments, and let me know what your favourite monster movie is. And as always, thanks very much for watching this review. I really do appreciate it. If you can, give it a like, and don't forget to share the lave.